Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, so if you've ever found yourself just staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. because your brain absolutely won't shut off, well, I am super thrilled to share this with you today. We're going to explore a highly specific and honestly immediately actionable physical trick that can instantly stop overthinking and just quiet your mind. It turns out the solution to all that mental noise, it might actually be hiding right inside your mouth. Let's get right into it.
All right, let's dive in with a quick little experiment. Right now, at this exact moment, where is your tongue resting? No, seriously, don't change anything yet. Just bring your physical awareness to the inside of your mouth. Pay close attention to what your tongue is actually doing.
Now, if you're like most people, you probably just noticed that your tongue is pressed up hard against the roof of your mouth, or maybe your jaw is completely clenched. You might even feel these tiny, almost imperceptible micro-movements in your tongue. I was absolutely fascinated to learn from our source material, Thomas Alethia's 12 Steps to a Good Life, that this physical tension in the mouth is directly, literally connected to that constant, exhausting mental chatter echoing in our heads.
Section 1. The heavy toolbox of thought. The exhaustion of mental chatter.
So to understand why relaxing your tongue is such a game changer, we first kind of have to look at how we actually view our thoughts. Thinking is, at its core, a tool, right? You use it to navigate life, to solve problems, to figure out your day. But imagine a mechanic or a plumber who carries their incredibly heavy toolbox around everywhere they go, even when they're off the clock. Sitting at the dinner table, lying in bed, they'd be totally exhausted. And you know what? That is exactly what we do with our thoughts. You lug them around everywhere, unable to put them down, and it completely drains your mental, physical, and emotional energy.
Section 2. The Mind-Body Illusion. Dismantling Descartes' Error.
Now, to grasp why we feel so trapped in this endless cycle of overthinking, we have to look back at a deeply ingrained philosophical misconception. You've definitely heard this famous Latin phrase from René Descartes back in the 17th century, cogito ergo sum, right? I think, therefore I am. Well, while it totally laid the foundation for modern Western philosophy, our source material points out that it also created a massive error. It basically handed us this false belief that the mind and the body are entirely separate entities. You know, stacked up like different boxes that just don't interact.
The big myth here is that your mind is somehow disconnected from your physical form, but the absolute biological reality is that you are one cohesive system. Your thoughts and your physical reactions, they are incredibly intertwined. Think about it. Feeling down emotionally absolutely tanks your physical energy. Anxiety physically manifests as muscle tension. Stressful thoughts can actually cause real digestive issues. It's wild when you realize that your nervous system literally doesn't know the difference between a real physical threat and just a stressful thought. Your body is constantly, physically reacting to all that mental chatter.
Which actually brings us to this biological quirk that is both fascinating and, honestly, a little weird. It's called silent thinking. When you're talking to yourself in your head, it isn't purely a mental thing. Your inner monologue is quite literally a physical workout for your mouth. It's an act driven by the brain's language center. Your brain is actively sending signals down to your vocal cords and your tongue, causing them to make these tiny, imperceptible micro-movements, exactly as if you were actually speaking out loud. Every single thought has a physical echo right there in your throat and jaw.
Section 3. The Tongue Hack. A physiological override for overthinking. Okay, so since we now know that overthinking is actually a physical process, that means we can use a physical intervention to override it. Let's actually do this together right now. Step 1. Consciously relax your jaw. Just let go of that tension you've been holding. Step 2. Instead of pressing it hard, allow your tongue to just gently, very gently touch the roof of your mouth, right behind your front teeth. And step 3. Just hold it there softly. By doing this right now, you are actively disrupting the physical mechanism of your inner monologue. The science behind the sudden quiet you might be feeling is really elegant. By intentionally relaxing your jaw and lightly touching your tongue to the roof of your mouth, you literally disengage your brain's language center, the exact part that controls those micro-movements of silent thinking. You instantly reduce mental chatter because you're basically sending a reverse signal from your body back up to your brain saying, "Hey, we're not speaking right now." And just like that, the noise drops dramatically. It's a complete physiological override. It's almost like magic, but it's just biology.
Section 4. More physical mind hacks. Hijacking the brain's default mode.
Now, the tongue trick is incredible, right? But it's really just the beginning of a much larger toolkit. Our source material outlines several ways to use the body to control the mind. Let's look at a quick breakdown of 3 powerful physical interventions. First, we have Hakalau, which expands your visual field. Second, the 2 points technique, which is a sensory override. It's like rubbing your thumb and index fingers together on both hands simultaneously to split your brain's focus. And third, 4-7-8 breathing, which physically activates your parasympathetic nervous system to calm you down. Let's take a closer look at 2 of these.
All right, let's look closer at Hakalau. This is a really cool Hawaiian method of mindfulness. Here's how it works. You start by focusing on a single point in front of you, but then you intentionally open your awareness to your peripheral vision, your side vision. By consciously taking in that wide view, you actually shift your brain activity. It activates the right hemisphere of your brain and, amazingly, often instantly dissolves mental tension and stress.
Next up is the 4-7-8 breathing pattern. You inhale through your nose for 4 counts, hold that breath for a solid 7 counts, and then exhale slowly through your mouth for a full 8 counts. Now, here is why this matters so much. Making that exhale twice as long as the inhale biologically forces your nervous system to settle down. It activates the vagus nerve, slows your heart rate, and physically tells your brain, hey, you are safe.
Section 5. Finding the space between. Experiencing true presence.
So all of these physical hacks we've talked about, relaxing the tongue, expanding your vision, extending your exhale, they all lead to one ultimate goal: to notice the gap between your thoughts. You see, our minds are usually like this incredibly crowded highway of constant traffic. But when you use these physiological tricks, you create a momentary pause in that traffic. Finding that gap, that quiet space, is what allows for genuine mindfulness. It's honestly the only real relief from the pure exhaustion of carrying that heavy mental toolbox around all day long.
I want to leave you today with a final highly provocative thought exercise straight from the source material. Once you've relaxed your tongue and found a nice moment of quiet, just close your eyes and ask yourself this highly specific question: what is my next thought? And then just wait. Observe your mind like a cat intensely watching a mouse hole. When you patiently, actively wait for the next thought to emerge, you're going to find that your mind goes totally, blissfully blank. There's just no thought. Seriously, try it today. Relax your tongue and enjoy the quiet. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you next time.